Okay, welcome to Explorer's Guide, Maritime Academy's help videos. I'm Captain Gary Coolibert, and I'm going to walk through the medical process to get your medical certificate. This one can be a little bit challenging at times. First, to try to find a physician that will do them, and then answering some of the quirky little things that may be here. This is not a DOT physical. Any provider can do it. Physician assistant, medical practitioner, or an MD. Chiropractors and like obviously cannot because they're not medical. Okay, you're going to use the CG719K form. It's a brand new 10-page form, and you're going to have to submit all 10 pages of the form. This is what the certificate looks like that you're going to get. It is additional to your credentials, and you need the medical certificate to make your credentials valid. And you will notice up at the top there are going to be 3 dates. There's going to be STCW, which is 2 years, a national, which is 5 years, and for pilots, which is an annual date. So most people, unless you're into STCW out in the ocean, you have a national license, and the cert is good for 5 years. I get calls all the time saying, well, do I have to redo it? No, it's every 5 years that you have to redo your physical on that. And down on the lower right, you're going to see all the things that you're approved for. So, you know, basically your color vision, you can work in the galley and all that kind of stuff is there. Okay, the top of the form again is going to be instructions. The first 2 pages are nothing but instructions for the person doing the actual physical. Again, physician, nurse, physician assistant, nurse practitioner can do the exams. It's not a DOT physical. On the bottom of these forms, they're going to initial it, and you are also going to print your name and your birthday. And so I want you to make sure you look at the top and bottom of every page, all 10 pages, to make sure that they either initial them and or that you put down your name and birthday. Otherwise, it's going to come back. This is to certify that you've read it, that they've read it, and accept those conditions that are there. Then we have the again, a fillable form. I suggest downloading it, filling it out. You cannot save it, as we talked about previously, unless you got the higher end Adobe software. Again, make sure your name is the same on all the documents we've talked about. Your social security number, birthday, your address, all that stuff is, again, it's like on all the other forms itself. If you wanted the certificate to be delivered to a different address, then also fill that out. What kind of endorsement are you after? You are a deck is what you're after. You are an officer up running the boat, the deck. You're not down in engineering. You're not into food servicing or the other things. So you're a deck officer for your OUPV or your master's. And again, at the bottom, you're going most likely if you're free of communicable diseases, they're going to check yes. And again, they're going to put down their initials on it. Now, again, at the top, making sure you put your name and your birthday. Now, this is where there's 33 items. You're going to go through and say yes or no on them. Initially, it's either a yes or no. On a renewal, if there was a waiver granted, you'll check that. If it was previously disclosed, you'll check that. But for right now, on an initial one, the pre-employment, it's going to either be a yes or no. So you're going to go through and answer the questions on it. This is how we have done before you go in to see the doctor herself. Now, if you do check a yes, on the following pages, you're going to put down the item number, the onset or the diagnosis when it happened, and then the condition, the treatment, the status, the limitations. Part of that you can fill out. Part of that the physician is going to fill out on it. Gallbladder taken out. So you put down, yes, surgery, gallbladder, treatment, surgery, status, no issues. And the doctor's going to put down no limitations. High blood pressure, yeah, being treated, status under control, limitations none. So any of those 33 items, they're there. Now, if you have, let's say, type 2 diabetes, they're going to ask for two A1Cs 90 days apart. How do I know that? Because it's going to be in the NAVIC. It's going to be an 0408, and it tells you about halfway down on the page here in blue there, it says how to find that, the link to it. That is what you're going to take into the doctor. They're going to look at it and say, okay, this is what we have to do. Also on the help desk, and I had thrown that number out a number of times, 888-427-5662. You will call that. There's a health medical person on staff, and they will help you with this as well. This is not the reviewer. This will be the medical reviewers that are there. So if you got something, don't know quite what they want, go ahead, and that's where you're going to do it. I just took care of a gentleman. We just sent everything, and in fact, he just got his medical certificate. He let me know today, and he had bypass surgery, and he did a stress test and a couple other things, I think, an echocardiogram, and a cardiologist signed off on it, and no problem. He did everything the way it was supposed to have been done, and this is on the initial, and he got his medical certificate yesterday or day before. Okay. Um, Again, making sure you go through the items numbers. We talked about that. Now, medication. Do you currently use any medical medication, prescription, non-prescription? I tend to ignore the non-prescription. Who cares if you're taking vitamins? If they're not prescribed and you're doing it on your own, I don't know if that's really the government's concern. If you take and if you have a prescription, you check yes, and then you list the medication, the dosage, frequency. The medical practitioner is going to then make their additional comments on it. But again, if you want this thing to go through fairly quickly, the more you can put down there and help out, the better it is. So you're going to list all the various drugs that are involved. And again, physical exam part, your height, your weight, your pulse, your blood pressure, body weight. If it's over 40 on the BMI, plan on giving them additional documentation. We've had people that were bodybuilders and football players, and their biomass was over 40, and they were an excellent help, but they had to explain it. Again, they're going to check you out for these items here. There's 16 different items, your typical physical type items. Any comments, they will write below. And again, they're going to initial and date, just as we talked about in other parts of the form. This is the page that gets messed up probably the most. Now, if you do not have glasses, you have uncorrected vision. If you have glasses, contacts, and the like, you have uncorrected with the glasses off and then with the glasses on. They want that uncorrected vision. If it's not filled out, guess what? The form's coming back. So make sure that you have both those filled out. The uncorrected has to be filled out for everybody on it. And they want a minimum of 2,700. And basically, if you don't have 2,700, you're talking LASIK surgery to get it down into that range. It's there. Field of vision, hopefully normal. Color, color impairedness, and one out of 12 men are. I have a little bit of an issue with it. One test I can pass, other ones I cannot. So they're going to give you the color test, and they're going to indicate how many errors were on it. Make darn sure if there's no errors, there's a big fat 0 in there. Because if there's not, guess what? They're going to come back on it. And again, did you pass or fail it? Below that is going to be the hearing. They don't have to give you a hearing exam. I've more than once people got forced into it. No, just like it says there, they do a whisper test. Unless you really know that your hearing's bad and you got hearing aids, well, that's, again, a little different issue. But if your hearing is normal, they do the whisper test, and all they have to do is check normal. They do not have to do the audiogram. If your hearing is not the best, then they will, and then they will do a function, speech function as well. And again, at the bottom of the form, they're going to initial and date. Now, This is where a lot of the physicians kind of freak out. They are not asking you and them to do these. They're asking to evaluate that. And normally a person in good health, reasonable health, fair health, if they can step up and down and lift 40 pounds and the like, will be able to function and do these tasks. They don't have to be done, but again, they need to be evaluated. Can you do those? Medical practitioner, again, should indicate whether the applicant can meet the guidance in the table. If in good health, there should not be an issue with that. Only if the medical practitioner, your doctor, doubts that the applicant's ability to meet the guidance contained within or body fat or body mass index over 40 rather, excuse me, then they will go on to do additional testing of that. Again, does not mean an applicant has to carry or roll out an 1.5-inch hose with the nozzle to full extension. It simply says if you're in normally good health, can you do it? The answer is yes, you move on to that. Okay, again, describe if they have to do some type of testing, what method did they use to evaluate your physical abilities on it? And then finally, they should be checking physical abilities. Applicant has the strength, agility, flexibility to perform these tasks. Check yes, make any comments that they have. If they check no, then guess what? You're going to go back through some more evaluation because they won't issue a license. So hopefully you check yes. Again, their initials and the date. If they, again, items, you can decline, check the box. Okay, this is on the, the last page. On the last page, it's consent for the medical practitioner to release information to the Coast Guard. If you have issues, then box A makes the most sense. Then sign it and date it. If you have no issues and you don't want them to contact it, then as you can see in the upper right corner, have them check declined. And then at the very bottom of the page, I believe you still have to put your name and your birthday down below. If you have other issues, again, I would continue either on box B or box C, giving them consent to talk to your third-party evaluators. Particularly if there's any heart issues and the like, you really do need to have them talk to it. Otherwise, they may well not be approved. So this is the form, pretty straightforward, 10 pages, about half of it you can fill out. Any normal doctor can complete the form. It does not have to be a DOT physician on it. If you do have issues, then you really want to go to that NAVIC. They give you the address there, and it'll tell you what additional information that you're needed. Again, physical, a lot of the occupational centers can do these very quickly. We have a number of them around here in upper Wisconsin that do these. It's just a matter of finding the right doctor, and usually it can be done very, very quickly. Hopefully it was helpful. And again, thank you for reviewing my help videos.